This is Shutout Sessions with KyTheGoalie, the podcast where I interview the most biggest names in lacrosse, from goalies to gearheads, the guys building the future of the sport. Today's guest helped take a college basement and turned it into a lacrosse empire. He's one half of the brother team behind ECD Lacrosse, creators of the Impact Goalie Head, the Ion, the Delta, and tons of gear you see all over PLL College and high school fields. He played defense at Elizabethtown College, turned a passion into a full-time brand, and still has time to go head-to-head in his brother shooting videos. Let's welcome ECD Mike to the show. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
That was quite the intro. I don't know that I'm one of the biggest names in lacrosse, so I appreciate that though.
All right, let's just get right into it. When was the first time you picked up a lacrosse stick?
So I was probably 3 would be my guess. There's a great picture on my parents' fridge of like Greg and I lined up with like little tiny like fiddlesticks, and my dad was playing catches in the backyard. But I know that we started first playing like kind of organized at 5. So relatively young in Baltimore. That's kind of when kids start. They kind of have a stick in their hand, a toy stick growing up, and then start joining the league around 5.
You played college at Elizabethtown College. How did that time shape you as a player and a person?
Yeah, it's probably where I played my best lacrosse and met some of my best friends. So Greg and I both played at a high school locally called Loyal Blakefield, and we were really good. So we actually won the championship our senior year, and I would say play time was limited for us. I played exclusively man down. So it was a great experience to be on an awesome team. But I really only was playing like 1 or 2 minutes a game, like unless there was like a ton of penalties, then it was like a couple minutes. And so I wanted to go somewhere in college where I could play and have like an impact. And so Elizabethtown was a great fit for that. It's like mid-level Division III. And so they could really compete for their conference title every year to go to the NCAAs. And so we had a great experience there. It was great playing lacrosse there. So it was a lot of fun.
You were an LSM. What was your style on the field?
Yeah, I think proudly I led the team in penalties all 4 years. So it's definitely an aggressive style. I like to go out, take the ball away. I like to go down on offense and shoot. I'd say that style's been more developed in men's league than it has been in college. I had a couple goals in college, but nothing crazy. So it's definitely an aggressive player. Loved between the lines, riding, clearing, that whole thing.
Any standout games or moments from your college career that still stand out today?
Uh, we had some great games. I mean, like I could tell you, scoring my first college goal, was an awesome experience. Like I really enjoyed that as a defender. It was a big deal. So that would probably be the one that stands out to me. Is just that's a great memory of playing and scoring a goal.
You were majoring in accounting. How did you balance class, lacrosse, and early ECD grind?
Yeah. So Greg and I were both accounting majors, and both of our parents are CPAs. Our dad started his own and owns a CPA firm, and so accounting was a little bit in our blood. So I really liked accounting. In terms of the balance side of it, I think just balancing any college sport is harder. It's easier at the Division III level. There's a little bit less on the requirement side. Greg actually started the business our senior year in college and just dying and stringing sticks on the side. So I wasn't really even involved in college, so I didn't have to balance that at all. And realistically, you're young, but when you're in college, you actually have a ton of free time. You just don't really realize it, I think. So he was just dying and stringing sticks on the side, selling them on eBay, lacrosse forums, that sort of deal. So it wasn't really a huge time commitment for the business at first. School and lacrosse probably took up most of our time in that regard.
So in the intro, we talked about today's guest helped take a college basement and turn it into a lacrosse empire. I know the story, but tell us for the people who don't know, what started ECD Lacrosse?
Yeah, so that was really it. Is that I think everyone knows, and it's still true to this day, that everyone has someone that strings their stick, whether it's the person that works at the retail store, or it's a teammate, or it's a friend, or it's a parent. And then there's a huge class now that string their own sticks. Probably a little bit less in 2010, 2011 when we started stringing. So Greg started, was just always tinkering with sticks all growing up, middle school through college, was always dyeing them, stringing them, unstringing them, trying different things, trying different pockets. And so eventually in 2011 in college, he started selling some of them online. After we graduated, we were getting our masters at Towson. in accounting to become CPAs, and he started to make YouTube videos about the heads that he was stringing and dyeing, and started a website, which was called East Coast Dyes. East Coast Dyes, the name was dyeing sticks, stringing sticks. And then shortly after that, he started messing around with wax mesh in our basement. So at the time, mesh was, it's called semi-soft mesh or semi-hard mesh, but it was really hard. It took a long time to break in, and then the weather would just jack it all up. So the pocket would bag out, then the next day it would shrink up. So wax inherently solved all of those problems. So, it was just in our basement, just started, dipping mesh into wax, and then went from there. So it kind of snowballed, took off, and started to get other products.
Every team has a stick doctor, and your brother Greg was clearly that guy. When did it turn from a hobby to something you knew could be a real business?
I started with the business helping out just making wax mesh. So this was 2012 after tax season because we were preparing tax returns at our dad's accounting firm. And so I would say that 2012 year, it was still a hobby, right? So our end goal was to still get our CPA, go work at a big accounting firm, maybe some point come back and take over the family accounting company. And so that we ran it like a business, but also like a hobby. Like it wasn't like something like, we had a business plan or had like all these aspirations and goals and what we're going to do. And then Black Friday of 2012, we took something like 800 orders on our website or something like that. And we kind of looked at each other and said, well, we could, make a run at this thing and see if it's a business. And so kind of went to our dad's accounting firm office and told him like, hey, we don't want to work next tax season. We're going to finish up grad school and we want to run with the accounting firm. He was really excited because he started his own business. And so he was, excited that we were starting our own thing and doing that. But he said, hey, I need you to prepare taxes one last tax season. So we worked that one last tax season in the spring of 2013. Then April 2013 moved out of our house into a 2,000 square foot warehouse. And that's when really we, hired employees in 2013, full-time employees and really started to kind of run it and treat it like a business.
From a basement to a 2,000 square foot facility, now to a 21,000 square foot facility. What was that process like?
Yeah, if you look back on it, it really happened a lot slower than you imagine. So it really went from our basement to 2,000 square feet to 9,000 square feet, and then expanded to 20. I think now we're actually 35. I probably need to update the website. And then next year we'll move into 50,000 square feet. And so, if you really think about it, we've been doing this now for almost 15 years. And so it has been a long process and a slow process from going from product and growing the product. And it's been a lot of fun. A lot of great employees help you along the way. So it hasn't really just been Greg and I. We've hired a lot of fantastic employees that have done a great job of growing, have ideas, and have aspirations. So it has been really fun, but it does take a while to get to those, milestones and goals.
ECD has built out a full lineup of athletes. Ryan Drenner, Xander Dixon, Matt Dunn, Brian Costabile, Romar Dennis, plus NIL athletes Brennan Millen, Ryan Dunkill, and Ellie Dindulk. Oh my gosh, I'm butchering all these names. I'm sorry, everybody I just said. Can we expect more female athletes now that the WLL is having more full season in the 2026 season?
I hope so. That's we have a great women's brand manager, and the marketing team does a great job with this stuff. And so, I hope we stay involved there. We just launched a stick called the Halo. It's doing really, really well. It's really exciting. So, yes, it's definitely a big piece of our goals of our business is to continue to grow the women's side of our business, and that's definitely part of it.
What role do NIL athletes play in ECD's growth?
That's a good question. And again, Greg does a lot more of the marketing side. We have a great marketing team in-house that does all this stuff, shoots the videos. But, that is a lot of it. It's really about a lot of the content, online. We also use those, some NIL kids, and I know that they just came out with all the 5-star kids that use, our product. But we get a lot of product feedback from them. So, especially the Millens have been absolutely fantastic of, Greg strings their sticks. So he will string their sticks. Give them the newest head that is coming out. They'll use it for a season. They give us feedback, say, hey, tweak this, I like this needs adjusted. And so it's a lot of way that we really also run our product development. So it's not just necessarily like a sponsorship of like, hey, you're going to use our stuff and people are going to see our stuff, but a lot of times it's a involvement of like, they're testing new product, they're trying things out. We're also shooting their highlights and using their content on for our YouTube channel. So that really goes into a lot of the ecosystem of what we do.
If someone is thinking about switching brands, head, shaft, mesh, why should they pick ECD?
Well, they should never switch anything that's working. So I would never tell someone that if they're using an STX stick and they love it and they're playing really well, like continue to use it. I think that that's kind of awesome about our game is that there's so much customization of between the mesh and the pocket and the shaft and the head. You can have a setup across 4 or 5 different companies, right? And so what I would tell people is that where I think that we stand out is performance. We put a lot of time and effort into the products that we make. A lot of testing goes into them, a lot of research and development. And, I truly believe that a lot of our heads are just better performing than what else is on the field. But, every player is different. Every player plays different. Everyone wants different things. So, we don't make every single product that is on the market. And so certainly I'm happy if someone is using another brand's head, but is stringing it with our mesh, or someone has someone else's head and mesh, but is using our shaft. So if we can make something that, is helping those players perform on the field and helping them, perform better, win games, score points, we're happy to do that.
What makes your gear different from the competition?
Yeah, so we're definitely out on the limb on the technology side of things. So if you just look at the plastics that we put in our head, that we trial, that we work with, lighter weight, higher performing, hold their shape over time. One of the only brands is really experimenting in that, realm of things. Most brands are still just making nylon heads. And so we're really trying to push the limits on it. Same thing. We're really, I feel as the leader in carbon fiber shafts and have continued to push that technology over the last, 6-7 years. And so we're really putting more effort and technology into our products that, in hope is helping players perform better on the field.
All right, so I'm going to show you something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
My brother uses the Mirage 2.0.
Awesome.
And it's literally right here in my hand, and he loves it. What kind of player is this head built for?
Yeah, Mirage 2.0. We actually just came out with the Mirage 3.0, so we might have to get your brother an upgrade here soon. Really, that head is designed for shooters. So you watch Brian Costigo play on the field. It is a nice step down outside shot, midfield head. It's stiffened up to hold up to both ways. But really, if you look at the face shape and how tight that face shape is, that head is built to shoot. The original Mirage was also designed around like Ryan Brown, Deemer Class were using that, and they were just absolute, could ping corners. And so that is a lot of where that head gets its kind of, history and shape and performance to it. The great thing about the Mirage 3 that we just launched is that we made it a little bit stiffer, which anytime you do that really benefits on the field.
Yeah, so you mentioned it being a stick for shooters, so I might actually have to switch this head because my brother is not quite the shooter, so I might have to tell him about that one. Let's talk stringing. How does your design help players make better pockets?
Yes, so we definitely are in our product development process are constantly thinking about the pocket. So, when we're designing ahead, we are thinking about where the hole placement, how do you string this? What is our pocket going to look like? What do other people want to string? How big do the sidewall holes need to be? All of those things go into when we design ahead is thinking about the pocket. We're also always, pushing the technology side on mesh, whether it's materials or texture or, anything that goes into pocket performance, and then stringing it as well. So, we have a great team in-house that strings all of our pre-strung pockets. So that's actually what I'm doing right now. So these are our elite pockets for our impact heads. So all of our heads are strung by employees and people that know how to string lacrosse heads. We string them all here in Towson, Maryland. And so basically that is how we get, thousands of heads strung, is that employees take them home, they string them, they dig them back in, they go through a quality control process, they go to packaging, they go out on the shelf. So when you go to Lacrosse Unlimited or any really, lacrosse specialty store, Dick's Sporting Goods, those pre-strung pockets by us are strung by actual people that know how to string in heads that were developed specifically for the pocket that we're stringing. So it's a really cool experience to be able to bring that to the market.
Goalies love the impact. Are we going to see more goalie products in the future?
Definitely. So we've got one that we're working on right now. We're going to trial that I'm really excited about, and then we're working, and at some point it'll come out as second gen of the Impact. We're also starting to get into protective equipment. We have arm pads now. We'll have some other ones coming out later this year, and so we'll start to possibly explore and think about some of those other segments.
Lots of players on my team and other teams use the Ion. What makes it so popular?
Players love lightweight products. It's one of the lightest weight heads. The material allows us to do that. And so I think it's great design from, like you said, the stringing standpoint, the pocket to the face shape. It really plays really well. And then it has a unique look to it, right? So the clear is not something that people have done. And since I was probably your age, and it didn't really go that well. The Edge Ice was what was really launched then. And so I think a unique look with all of the color options, just something that attracts players, as well as when you match that with the performance of the lightweight and that low pocket, it's really great for attackmen, is where it's really found its niche.
What feedback have you gotten from the Ion?
So I think that players love the look. I think some players would love more durability. So I think there's some midfielders that lean defensive. There's some defenders that would love to use the look of a clear head. So that's something that we'll work on, possibly in the future. But the overwhelming majority of the feedback is really positive. Just love the head, love the face shape, love the performance, love the weight, which is exciting. It's always great when you launch a product like that.
What goes into refreshing or evolving a product line?
Yeah, it's hard. Generally what we start with is what is the current user, what is their experience? And so we'll start with surveys with people that are currently using the product or using, in this case, the head. And so we'll send out surveys, we'll get feedback, and within that survey process, you find things that are potentially wrong, things that people don't like, things that people wish they have, what they rank the highest, and then you start to tweak it and play with it. So that goes back into some of those, high school guys that are, our NIL guys that are doing product with us. It goes back to people inside the company that are playing, that use the products and play. And so that's really the start of the process. And then you get into the weeds of like, how do you make those things happen, and engineering and testing and plastics and goals. So that's one way we do it. It's kind of like second gen. The other way is that our team will just pitch ideas. Like, I think we should make this, and I think we should make that. And then we just go explore it and say, hey, is there a market here? Is there, is there something we can make better? Something we can do better? And we'll go down that path.
You don't just hype ECD gear. You guys review other brands too. Whose idea was that?
Well, that really started before we made all the gear, right? So at first we were, a stringing and mesh company with a YouTube account. And so we would, always review people's gear. And so I think when we started, shafts don't get reviewed a lot, but heads do, right? Heads are really unique, specific, they get reviewed. So we first came with our head, we kind of asked ourselves, like, are we going to continue to review other companies' heads? And I think that we felt like it was somewhat of an obligation of like how we started to give other companies fair and honest reviews. And I think that, Greg does a great job with that, of staying non-biased. I think it'd be easy just to go out there and recommend our products, but he does a great job of saying like, yes, this is a great head. And just as I said earlier, we're happy if people are using other companies' heads with our mesh or with our shafts. We hope that they find that our heads are best performing, but every player is unique and special. So I think that there's a big value add to, consumer reviews are great when you go to shop and buy. And so, or sometimes are we recommending other products and selling them against our own? I'm sure. But I think it's a great thing to do for the lacrosse community.
Was there ever a moment where you hesitated to post something critical of a competitor?
I think Greg's always done that, even before we made heads. So I think it was just natural to kind of continue that progression, even though we made them. And I think he does a good job of acknowledging, it's like, hey, that we make heads, and everyone knows this is what we do. But I think the criticism is fair when he does it. I don't think that it's unjust or just attacking to attack.
The head-to-head shooting videos between you and Greg are awesome. Who usually wins those videos?
Well, Greg played offense, so he's a better shooter than I am. I'd say that sometimes I can win those videos. I will acknowledge that my shot speed is not nearly what Greg is. So when I'm shooting, I'm probably in the 70s, and he's probably in the 90s.
That Timu CJ Kurtz video is hilarious. Are you planning to see more funny content like that?
Well, we had to take that one down. I think possibly whoever endorses him was not happy about that. So yes, when the ideas come, we'll make the content, but yes, we'll definitely do some skits and that sort of deal.
What's your favorite ECD video of all time?
I think just like for nostalgia, it's Greg and I shooting in our parents' driveway. Greg like clipped it up. I think there was a couple where I was like even in the goal. Those videos are kind of resonate as my favorite.
All right, let's go into rip it or skip it. Rip it is you like it. Skip it is you say no to it. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get right to it. Orange slices after games.
Rip it.
Parents bringing air horns to fall ball games.
Bringing air what?
Air horns.
Air horns? Skip it.
Working with pro players on signature heads.
Rip it.
Shooting with the stick that you just strung 5 minutes ago.
Rip it.
Stringing a head for a rival school.
I would rip that.
Using your basement as a shipping room.
Definitely rip it.
Pre-game hype in the bathroom mirror.
Putting eye black on, rip it.
Daydreaming of lacrosse in class.
Rip it.
All right, well, that was Rip or Skip It. Let's get more into the future of ECD. Where's ECD going in the next few years? Sorry.
I think the goal is always to continue to make better products, whether that's heads, mesh, shafts. We've really just recently gotten into protective with arm protection. So we have an arm guard, and then now I call them elbow caps, but like they're actually in the industry called elbow pads, but they're for defenders. And so I think we'll continue to launch more protective products. We're excited about the technology we have coming out and really think that we make a better product. But really focus on anything that we can make better. We don't like to make things just because we can make them, or we like to make products that are better performing, better on the market. And so we'll continue to do that as well.
Any new products you can tease, especially for any goalies?
There's one that we're gonna make in a couple of days that'll launch early spring, but I can't tell you any more than that.
All right.
If you dig deep on the internet, you've probably seen it.
What do you want younger players to understand about building something from nothing?
Our company motto is hard work pays off, and I think that sometimes people think that that's instantaneous. And so, I think when people look at ECD and you say like, oh, start in a basement, and then now they're, doing what they're doing, it sounds quicker than it was, right? And so, hard work pays off, but that takes a long time for that payoff to come sometimes. And so that would be my recommendation. That's whether that's in school or it's on the lacrosse field or it's running a business, is that it's little victories at a time to get to what you will end up being.
All right, thank you so much for being on. Where can people find you and ECD online?
I get my handle on things on Instagram and like Twitter is ECD at ECD Mike. Most people probably want to follow ECD Greg or the main ECD Lax account would be my recommendation. I post, but it's more like, my kids and some lacrosse stuff and my thoughts on Twitter or X or whatever that is called now.
All right. That's a wrap of this episode of Shutout Sessions with KyTheGoalie. Big thanks to ECD Mike for breaking down the journey from Elizabethtown to co-founding one of the most trusted names in the game. Whether it's the Impact, the Delta, the Ion, or the next NIL athlete drop, ECD is building with passion, honesty, and players in mind. I'm KyTheGoalie. See you in the crease. Peace.